The phone buzzed on the counter while the kettle was screaming, and I remember thinking, stupidly, that I should turn the stove off first, like that mattered. The screen lit up with her name. Well, not her name, not the one I know. Just a heart emoji and some inside joke I didn't get. And before I could even decide whether to look, the kettle boiled over and hissed onto my hand, and I dropped the mug, and it shattered loud, sharp. She yelled from the bedroom, "Can you not break things for 5 minutes?" Like I'd planned it. So yeah, that's where this starts. Not with suspicion, not with a slow fade, with a noise, with heat. With me standing there, holding my hand under cold water, staring at a phone that wasn't mine, and feeling, I don't know, off. Something had been off for a while, I guess. She'd been sharp lately, not angry exactly, sarcastic, defensive before I even asked anything. Little comments like, "Wow, you're really keeping tabs on me now," when I'd just ask what time she'd be home. Stuff like that. And there were these gaps, time gaps. She'd say she told me things I swear she hadn't, or maybe she had and I just forgot. That's what she said anyway. "You never listen." She'd laugh, but not kindly. And I started believing it. Started apologizing for stuff I didn't remember doing wrong. The interruption, that moment, wasn't the phone, actually. It was her stepping into the kitchen, seeing the broken mug, and immediately rolling her eyes. "Jesus, you're so dramatic." And I remember thinking, why am I the problem right now? Why does everything feel like I'm already on trial? I didn't know it yet, but something had already tipped. I just hadn't heard it hit the floor. I didn't go digging. I want that clear, even if it sounds like I'm defending myself too hard. I wasn't snooping. I wasn't lurking in the shadows like some paranoid cliche. I was looking for the insurance email. That's it. She asked me to forward it, said it was probably in my inbox because she'd used my laptop last week. So I opened the browser and, yeah, of course, her account was still logged in. And right there, before I even touched the mouse, a message preview slid down. Not explicit. Worse than that, casual, familiar. "Did you make it home safe?" With a little smile at the end. Who asks that like that? Not coworkers, not friends. And my stomach did this weird drop, like I'd missed a step on the stairs. I told myself not to click. I actually whispered it. "Don't be that guy." And then another message came in, another buzz, another name I didn't recognize, except now I did, because I just read it. And suddenly the room felt smaller, like the walls had leaned in to watch. I clicked. I hate that I clicked. There were jokes, inside jokes, complaints about me, disguised as humor. "He's in one of his moods again," she wrote. And then, just to really twist it, "I miss you already." Already, as in she'd just seen him, as in while she'd told me she was stuck late, dealing with traffic, exhausted. Here's the interruption part. You ready? She walked in behind me while I was still reading. Didn't say anything at first, just stood there. I felt it before I heard it, and when I turned, she didn't look guilty. She looked annoyed, like I'd interrupted her. "What are you doing?" she said, not scared, not shocked, sharp, accusing. And for half a second, this is the part that messes with me, I almost closed the laptop and apologized, like I'd done something wrong by knowing. I didn't yell. Everyone thinks there's yelling. There wasn't. My voice came out weirdly calm, like it didn't belong to me. I just said his name. That's it. Her smile vanished for half a second, just a flicker, and then it snapped back tighter, controlled. "Oh my God." She sighed, like I was exhausting her. "You're really doing this?" She crossed her arms and immediately went on the offensive. Said I'd invaded her privacy, said it was work stuff, then corrected herself. "I mean, not work, but like personal things I'm allowed to have." I asked her if she missed her coworkers. Already, too. That's when she laughed. Actually laughed. You're twisting words. You always do that. Here's the sudden turn. I showed her the message where she complained about me. I thought that would slow her down, make it real. Instead, she shrugged. Well, maybe if you weren't so sensitive, I wouldn't need to vent. Then came the tears. Fast, like a switch. She said she'd been lonely, that I'd been distant, that I check out emotionally. I started arguing, then stopped, then apologized mid-sentence for interrupting her. I hate that part, I really do. She noticed. Of course she did. So now I'm the villain, she said softly, after everything I've put up with. I asked her, finally, clearly, if she was sleeping with him. She didn't answer right away. She looked at the window, then at her phone, then back at me. Why does it even matter? She said. And there it was, the floor dropping out. I felt stupid for expecting honesty, stupid for thinking there'd be a clean confession. Instead, it was all fog and deflection, and me standing there wondering how I'd ended up arguing about my flaws while holding proof that my life had already split in two. I don't remember sitting down, but I was on the floor, back against the cabinet, knees pulled in like I was bracing for impact. She was still talking above me, explaining, reframing, correcting my tone, and I remember thinking, why am I the one shrinking right now? Why do I feel like I need permission to be hurt? The shock hit late. At first, it was just noise in my head, like a radio between stations. Then anger came in hot and reckless. I stood up too fast, said something I immediately regretted, called her cruel. She snapped back, "See? This is why no one can talk to you." And just like that, the anger collapsed into this heavy, embarrassing sadness. I apologized again for calling her cruel, for standing up too fast, for breathing wrong, it felt like. Here's the interruption. My phone rang. My mother, of all people. I stared at it vibrating on the table while my marriage was actively burning, and my wife said, "Are you really going to answer that right now?" Like I was being rude. I didn't answer. I watched it stop ringing and felt something in me quietly tear. After that, it turned inward. Maybe I had missed the signs. Maybe I was hard to live with. I replayed every argument, every time I'd been tired or distracted. She helped with that, gently, pointing out patterns. "You disappear emotionally," she said, almost kindly, and I nodded, because part of me wanted this to be my fault. Fault meant fixable, but then I'd remember the messages, the jokes, the "I miss you already," and the anger would flash back, sharp and brief, before dissolving into shame. It was exhausting, being furious and apologetic at the same time. I felt split in half, and neither side felt like me anymore. The decision didn't come like a moment of clarity. No dramatic line, no suitcase-packed epiphany. It came in pieces, small, awkward pieces that didn't fit together right away. We were standing in the hallway, both of us quiet for once, and she said almost casually, "So, what? Are you going to leave now?" And the way she said it, not scared, not pleading, more like she was daring me to make a mess. I said I didn't know. Immediately hated how weak that sounded. She took that and ran with it. Said maybe we just needed space. Said labels were pressure. Said the affair, she finally called it that like it was a technical term, was a symptom, not the problem. And I caught myself nodding again, then stopped. Mid-nod. That was the interruption. My own body betraying me, then correcting itself. I asked if she'd stop seeing him. She didn't say yes. She said, "I'm not making promises under threat." That sentence did something to me. It cooled everything, like a switch flipping off. I realized I'd been negotiating for scraps of honesty from someone who didn't think she owed me any. So I said I'd stay with a friend, just for a bit. The word bit hung there, undefined. She rolled her eyes, accused me of being dramatic again, then asked who I was going to complain to now. I almost stayed just to prove her wrong. That's the scary part. Instead, I grabbed a jacket and left without a plan. No resolution, just movement. It didn't feel strong. It felt unfinished. But it was the first decision that hadn't been guided by her reaction, and that had to count for something. I don't have a lesson. I wish I did. People keep asking what I've learned, like this is supposed to turn into something clean and useful. Mostly, I've learned how easy it is to doubt your own reality when someone keeps rewriting it in front of you. How you can hold evidence in your hand and still feel guilty for looking at it. I keep replaying the early moments, wondering where I bent too far, where I stopped trusting the part of me that felt something was wrong. And then I stop. Because that line of thinking just circles back to blaming myself for someone else's choices. I'm not good at not doing that yet. We still haven't decided what happens next. We talk in careful, clipped messages, practical stuff, no emotions. That might change or not. I'm sitting with the not knowing, and it's uncomfortable in a way that feels honest. If there's anything I'd say, though I don't know if I believe it yet, it's this. Pay attention to the moments where you start shrinking to keep the peace. Those moments add up. And one day, you look around and realize the interruption wasn't the betrayal. It was the silence you learned to live in before it.